What's up, guys? I'm very excited to be back for Season 8. We have huge poison buffs. We have Weather Ball Rock being added to Hippowdon and Castform, and we have Feather Dance being added to Pidgeot. So here's my first take on teams. Obviously, the first day games were write-offs. They're not really games. I feel like you can just auto-rect and win those games. So second day, I'm playing some actually reasonable opponents. So let's take a look at how some of these Pokemon perform. As always, huge shout out to my Patreon supporters. Could not be doing this without you guys. Let's get into this video. I'm going to talk a little bit about the team and the buffs that happened. So obviously Poison, my favorite type, finally gets buffed after I've been asking for it for years now, I guess. And it's finally buffed. Shadow Nidoqueen is probably the biggest winner out of all that, but a lot of people making videos about Shadow Nidoqueen and Pidgeot. There's plenty of resources there if you want to go see those right away. But there's a lot of other Pokemon that got inadvertently buffed by these buffs as well. So if you take a look here, Whiscash didn't get buffed, but when Poison gets better, Steel gets better. And what's good against both Poison and Steel? Ground is. And also what's good against Ground? Water is. So Whiscash is kind of that, I don't know. I think there's going to be a rise of Whiscash or other ground types coming up soon. We have Shadow Beedrill with the Poison Jab buff. Absolutely shreds. Shadow Golbat with the Poison Fang buff actually allows its wing attacks to shred a little bit too. So this team is a bit interesting. As far as the synergy goes between the Pokemon, I don't think it's as much there as it is with some of the other teams I've built in the past. I do think that the Pokemon on this team are all stronger individually than the sum of their parts with this current team, but I still wanted to make this video just to showcase how strong all three of these Pokemon can be in their meta when they're set up the right way. Obviously, if you look at this team, we have some real problems with Skarmory. We have some problems with Altaria. What else? There's going to be a couple problems. I tried a bunch of different leads, but I don't think the Shadow Beedrill, Shadow Golbat backline together has a really good lead that's not Deoxys Defense. And I really did not want to make another Deoxys Defense video this early in the season, you know, because a lot of people don't have that Pokemon, so it's kind of unfortunate. But and Pelipper as well. Pelipper is pretty tough with this team as well. But by committee, you can take down these Pokemon, and I do feel like these three are three of the biggest winners of this update. But let's get into these games, and I think this game is the game that the title is after. Whiscash solos an entire team here. We have a Shadow Mawile lead. They stay in for a little bit, which already makes me think, hey, guess what? They're in some trouble, because you don't want to switch in your best counter, because then I could just switch out and take it down. Unfortunately, like I said, this team doesn't have an answer for Altaria unless I land the Blizzard. So in comes Lantern. And we have Whiscash now versus Lantern and Mawile. I probably could have swapped to Beedrill. That would have been the much better play, but I really did want to see if I could win a game with only using Whiscash and see how much HP I can have remaining off of this. I actually could have not... I knew they were going to Hydro Pump the first one because it's their only win condition, but the second one, that's just a Thunderbolt for sure. We're still going to throw these Mud Bombs. See if they shield them on their Mawile or on their Lantern. And thank you to my opponent for not leaving, because it doesn't feel the same if they just rage quit after one Pokemon. I'm talking about actually taking down an entire team. I could have even charged up a little bit more and done this a little bit better. But might as well just be safe. I already have that Mud Bomb ready to go. And Whiscash is going to be able to survive with still 30% of its HP remaining. After taking out all three Pokemon. So this is what I'm saying. People just aren't respecting the ground types nowadays. People think the only ground type is G-Fisk. So they have stuff like Mawile, which can handle the G-Fisk, right? But Mawile cannot handle the Whiscash, that water typing. So yet again, another lead. You're going to see a lot of leads are getting won by Whiscash. Just in general, Whiscash is an incredibly strong Pokemon. I do really think that these two in the back aren't doing it justice. Perhaps Shadow Golbat as a switch and Skarmory as a closer would be really good here, because I think Skarmory also got a lot better. But we have a Scrafty versus Golbat matchup, and I'm going to throw this this Poison Fang. I no-shield the first Foul Play, and then you can just Poison Fang down. I debated farming as well, but then I would have had to spend a shield. And this matchup isn't great, obviously, the Stunfisk versus Golbat matchup, so we'll let Golbat go down, just pressuring the Shadow Ball, and then come back in with Whiscash, who has a pretty comfortable matchup here with Stunfisk. So, and when they don't switch out yet again, it's another sign to me, hey, look, they've got something else that's weak to Whiscash in the back. or at least not that strong, right? Because otherwise they'd switch right here and just hope that my final Pokemon cannot take care of it. I'll grab 2 shields, or sorry, 1 shield with this Whiscash. I know I can take another Mud Bomb or Discharge or whatever they decide to throw, and race them to that next Mud Bomb. So we're gonna throw. Hopefully this is another CMP tie, because I've been winning those with the Whiscash, and it is. So this time we're gonna let Whiscash go down. There's not too much out there that Shadow Beedrill loses to in the 2 shield. So it was a little bit of a risk, but Melmetal comes out, and once again, yes, Whiscash is incredible versus this Pokemon. So it is another team where 2 out of the 3 Pokemon are desperately weak to Whiscash. It just, Whiscash just looks so funny too when it's doing all this. It just does that blank stare as it just mud bombs down entire teams. But yeah, so you can see the value of Whiscash in these first couple games. There's going to be a couple games where you're going to really see the value of Beedrill and Golbat as well. Those will come. Once again, another lead won by Whiscash. We're going to swap out to Pidgeot. Ooh, this Pokemon is very annoying. We're going to go for the bait. It's a debuff Pokemon, so if you bait before their debuff, they'll usually shield, because they'll feel much safer once they get that debuff off. We're going to throw the Feather Dance here. Feather Dance is a pretty busted move. 2 double attack drop. Doesn't do very much damage, but I'm going to be able to throw this Blizzard. And I know they're not going to shield because they're debuffed. And we're going to swap into Golbat to try and absorb some of this. At this point, I think I'm pretty okay with them. I shouldn't have shielded. Even if they had Brave Birded me, be able to farm down with a Beedrill. But now Golbat has a ton of farm. Even though it's debuffed, I can get their defense down 2 stages, like how my attack is down 2 stages with the energy I've stored from Poison Fangs. So it's not that big of a deal. Look, we're already back at even. My Golbat is debuffed, but their Mana Buzz is double debuffed. Or sorry, we're both double debuffed, so this is the normal amount of damage that's going on. We're going to keep just spamming these Poison Fangs. Golbat with an energy advantage right now is very scary. Same with anyone with Poison Fangs, so it's a Viper or Nidoqueen. They're both very scary with these energy advantages. I'm going to come in with Beedrill because I kind of expected them to switch right away. And these Poison Jabs are really, really ticking. I'm going to let whatever this is through. You can survive an Aerial Ace, but unfortunately Nidoqueen in the back is a little bit too big at this point. I'm kind of in a damned if I do, damned if I don't situation with the shield. And unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to get to 2 moves here. Well, I mean, an X-Scissor and a Drill Run, I can get to 2 X-Scissors, but that's not going to do it. So yeah, not able to win this game, but it is what it is. Yeah, the Pidgeot switch-in is very tough. A lot of these flyer switch-ins on Whiscash are very tough because Whiscash needs to land the Blizzard to beat them. And you're wondering why I didn't try G-Fisk? Well, I did. We ran into some other issues. There were, for some reason, a lot of Empoleon. We tried Medicham. Same issues with flyers, right? Except you can't even Blizzard them. And Confusion users. So in this case, we get counter-swapped by the G-Fisk. Very unfortunate. They do shield, so we do have shield advantage. And we're going to try and play shields in this scenario. Which means that I cannot afford to spend any shields on my Whiscash at all. It can tank an Earthquake pretty comfortably. It's not Swampert, it's not very frail. But at the same time, I get a little bit greedy with my farming up. And then I decide not to trust my own count. But the shield does allow me to farm a little bit more with Whiscash, so it's not all bad here. In this case, in comes Abomasnow, and really the only chance here is to land this Blizzard, which I do. But unfortunately, I should have really let their Abomasnow take out my Whiscash instead of switching here into this Weather Ball, and catching that Weather Ball ended up being GG. So I'm not gonna be able to win this game, I don't think. Yeah, even with the Poison Fang defense drop, those wing attacks do not do enough damage. This Gengar is not running Sludge Bomb, is running Shadow Ball, so it is quite tough. But this team does actually have pretty good play versus the Ghosts, sorry, Gengar and Haunter, as you'll see in future teams. So let's take a look. This next set, it's all Stardust, so everything is on the line, and we're gonna get ganked by Machoke out of nowhere. Machoke out of nowhere ganks the team, but we're able to close that in time and get back into this game. Umbreon's an interesting lead here. Beedrill's your preferred target for it, but at the same time, Golbat doesn't do that well against it. It can if it ramps up. but they stay in a little bit against Beedrill. Probably means their team has no play against it. But we're going to no shield anyways, just in case they are harboring some sort of Bastion in the back. But out comes Galf. This is a matchup you love to see with Beedrill. They really have to shield everything. If they let even an X-Scissor through, they're kind of in trouble. That's why I'm not throwing the Drill Run. I'm just throwing the X-Scissor. Whiscash does have the ability to deal with this Galf. They're at 5. So we are going to throw this Mud Bomb. And that will be their 6th Volt Switch, but they just let it through instead. So their Umbreon comes in, I switch out right away because I'm already debuffed. Go right into this Golbat, and we're just going to get this Poison Fang off to kind of try and pressure them into switching, because I don't want to have to take these foul plays. I do have 2 shields remaining, and it is a Jellicent. So Jellicent, not a Pokemon you want to see on this team in the lead. Or the Beedrill gets absolutely stomped by it. The Golbat has a tough time with it, and the Whiscash has a very tough time with it as well. But Golbat at least can land those big Shadow Balls after a farm to deal with it. So even though there are a lot of tough things for this team to handle, they're all kind of dealable with by playing around with energy and stuff like that. So Medicham lead, we have 2 answers for that in the back. We're out of there. In comes Alolan Marowak. Not exactly what you want to see on the Beedrill switch in, because it is much better against the Beedrill than it is against the Golbat. And if they don't shield the Drill Run, it almost KOs, and you can actually force switch with 1 shield at that point. So pretty good to know. Unfortunately, not going to get to that X-Scissor this time, but this is an extremely comfortable matchup. Whiscash does a lot of work against Marowak, but unfortunately they do get the defense drop. So my Whiscash may not actually be able to take out this Marowak after all. Yeah, we go for the CMP tie. I decide not to shield. Unfortunately, I did not try and CMP tie. I really thought that I might win CMP versus a little Marowak, but Whiscash, I guess, a little bit too bulky. Either way, we're going to switch on to Golbat. This entire game is on Golbat at this point. And once again, we have a Jellicent in the back, so we're going to throw the Shadow Ball. If we can get it through, pretty much a KO, which we do. We're going to be forced to shield 1 regardless. Nice Beam. And Golbat now is in the 1 shield versus Medicham. This is a bit risky, right? Medicham has Ice Punch, so it's going to outpace to 2 Ice Punches before I get to Poison Fang Shadow Ball. So we're going to go for the catch here. Catch that Ice Punch on this Whiscash. Whiscash not just good for shredding Steel types, it's also good for catching Ice Punches, and go for that Shadow Ball to be safe instead of the double Poison Fang, which I'm not sure would have KO'd. It would have been very close. Better take those guaranteed wins instead. Yeah, this one shows the power of these last 2 games. Shadow Golbat was just incredible as a closer. It's hard to see Shadow Beedrill shine because a lot of time it just gets countered on the switch in, but that's the point of a safe swap. So Hypno lead is kind of tough as well. Luckily, Shadow Hypno generally runs 2 punches that Whiscash resists. So not too scared of the charge moves here, but likely we would spend a shield anyways because we really need to take out that Hypno. Here comes Vigoroth, and I swap a little bit slow into Golbat here. These counters don't do anything, but the body slams really add up. We're going to throw the Poison Fang pretty much right away so we can get that extra damage rolling. But we are going to have to shield if we want to win Switch, and we do have to win Switch here. It is a necessity. Hypno can't go up against Beedrill at this point, not with shields up. So we're trying to shield to force them to shield, but they know a little bit better, and they don't shield. So now we're playing against this Hypno down a shield. Obviously Thunder Punch coming in against this Golbat will take it, and we're going to bring Whiscash back in, get another Mud Bomb off. Hopefully they just let it through. Please just let it through, but no, it's not going to be the case. And in comes Venusaur. So this gives a little bit of life to this team. Shadow Beedrill versus Venusaur is quite a dominant matchup. I guess my last video you guys might have seen, or second last video, you would have seen Beedrill versus Venusaur quite a bit. We're going to charge up to a couple X-Scissors here so that we can throw one at this Hypno. I probably should have charged up a little bit more too. Wasn't 100% sure on the count, but we're not going to quite get to that next X-Scissor. Whiscash is going to be able to shield up this Thunder Punch. And then, unfortunately, Whiscash is going to be able to tank this Fire Punch like a boss and Mud Bomb down the Hypno, so we're still going to win that one. little bit of suspense added there. But yeah, very tough lead. For example, if we were running Medicham, this game would not be winnable at all. Shadow Hypno just destroys Medicham, and then it would destroy the entire rest of the team. This next game, we have a Jellicent lead, so this is really rough as well. Jellicent in general is pretty tough. But we're just going to throw with... Is that wrong timing? Oh, I did throw with wrong timing. That's not good. And they're going to get a bit of a Hex through. They have quite a bit of energy here, and I'm just trying to get my Mud Bombs off ASAP before they Bubble Beam if they choose to do that. So this Jellicent is kind of low now. Whiscash is going to tank that Shadow Ball, and we are going to switch out. Just in case they are running something like a Psychic type or something. So in comes Ninetales. This is not bad. This is the same as Nidoqueen, right? Golbat is weak to Ice, but all the Ice types are also weak to Poison. So you can really just force the issue here if you want. I decide not to. We have the defense debuffed on Ninetales, and we're going to come in with Shadow Beedrill and try and farm this thing all the way down. Look how much damage those poison jabs are doing. The buff plus the defense drop and the Shadow bonus. Shadow Beedrill just absolutely takes down this Alolan Ninetales with a decent amount of energy. Throw the Drill Run because I'm not really thinking that well. Really should have thrown the Exeter since it's that low. And in comes Altaria, so unfortunately not going to be able to get enough health to bait, which would have been our win condition normally. Instead, we're just going to lose to this Altaria. So Jellicent and Altaria are both hard to handle for this team, but both of them on the same team is nearly impossible. But we tried our best. It made it close. Alolan Marowak in the lead. In comes Ninetales. Even though it's the Weather Ball version, we know we can tank one. We don't want that much health at the end of this, right? So I'm going to spend one shield and farm all the way down. Less health means less farm for this Marowak. And at this point, I have enough energy to X-Scissor once and Drill Run once. So we're going to X-Scissor first. Also, just because I really didn't think they'd bring in a Alolan Marowak because they knew they'd have to shield. They're going to bring in this Venusaur instead. And we're going to go for the X-Scissor Drill Run on the Venusaur, which is also fine. So Beedrill takes out 2 Pokemon by himself. Here we go. So this is a Beedrill showcase for this game. You've already seen enough of Whiscash and Golbat. That was Beedrill's turn. He felt lonely. Wanted some love there. But now it's just Alolan Marowak versus Golbat and Whiscash. And even though this is Hex Alolan Marowak, so it's much better than non-Hex, they're just going to let their Marowak go down. Probably save some time. Realizing that even if they land a couple Shadow Bones here, unless the Pokemon in the back is like... even a Abomasnow could probably get to a Weather Ball in time. It's just a very tough situation there. It's last set. Sorry, only 3 sets this video because I didn't feel like it was a very cohesive team. It was more just a showcase of these Pokemon and what they can do. We have Ninetales switching, so we're going to go for the bait. The X's are, unfortunately, I let that move through. And we're not going to be able to make the Drill Run because of it. But you can see how much damage those poison jabs did. That Ninetales was extremely low. They did farm all the way down. But I don't believe they're at the energy for a Solar Beam, and I don't think Shadow Ninetales runs Solar Beam a lot. Anyways, so we're going to tank a Psyshock there. We're going to tank whatever here as well. It doesn't really matter. We just want a lot of energy to throw at this Machamp. We don't want to get farmed down anyways. So we're just going to farm up to 2. This means we can hit this Ninetales with a Mud Bomb, and then hopefully hit this Machamp, the Mud Bomb as well as it comes in. And transfer that counter to Golbat. Golbat is double resist fighting. And they're going to come with Politoed. So 2 shield Golbat versus 0 shield Politoed. Who do we think wins here? Well, we'll let one through just because they decide not to bait the Blizzard anyways. And that's, I guess, our loss condition is tanking a Blizzard. So we tank a Weather Ball. It's not too big of a deal. I was actually planning to go for the Poison Fang Shadow Ball combo, but I think Poison Fang is enough here. I don't think there's a lot of Pokemon tanky enough that you really need to Poison Fang and then Shadow Ball unless they resist. And then obviously Machamp is going to come back in and we still have a shield. So this game is essentially over. They decide to prolong it a little bit. That's fine. Yeah, these wing attacks, like that wing attack does a lot of damage after the defense debuff, especially on a Pokemon as squishy as Shadow Machamp. Yeah, I was very excited to get to use Shadow Golbat finally. I've used it a lot in the past on stream, but I've never created a team with it because I have lost most of those games in general. So this is the first time Shadow Golbat has actually not disappointed me. Very happy about it. We have an Altaria lead. This is pretty tough. like I said, we are going to shield the first one, I believe. Right? Because then they're more likely to shield. But they switch in Deoxys, and I just could not think of what to do fast enough. So I swap into Beedrill, but it's extremely slow. And this allows their Whiscash to get a ton, their Deoxys to get a ton of unresisted counters on Whiscash, and then transfer those into super effective Psycho Boosts on my Beedrill. So really poor play from my part in this game, just a really slow switch in, just not knowing the team very well. And now we can come back in with this Golbat. Now that they've debuffed themselves, I probably should have come in with Whiscash, because you resist everything except for these super debuffed Psycho Boosts, and they actually swap out here. So this gives me a little bit of life. I'm gonna throw the Shadow Ball and swap into Whiscash. We can get this Mud Bomb off as well. This isn't gonna KO, so we can still farm down. But hopefully, yeah, we barely get there, which allows us to actually have some life in this game. But the problem is with Altaria, this is now a bait game. I go straight for the Blizzard. Kind of thought that I might be able to get to 2, but looks like I will actually. Gonna have to shield up a Sky Attack, but this is what I'm saying. I'm playing better opponents. My opponent is counting perfectly. They're gonna catch this move perfectly on their Deoxys, and unfortunately, this Altaria has some residual energy, so it's just gonna be able to throw a Sky Attack at my Golbat, and then Dragon Breath down my Whiscash. They deserved that win. That was a really good catch. So even with the Altaria lead, that was very playable. I thought they just made a very, very good play. I was pressured to throw because they could have made it to Sky Attack, and they capitalized on that. Maccargo lead. This is probably the best possible lead for Whiscash, and they come in with Haunter, so we're gonna stay in. The backline doesn't do too well against it. Not bad with Golbat. You can just force the 2 shields, but instead, just going to shield up whatever they throw here. I should be able to outpace them regardless. I can win the 2 shield. And this is an easy game once this happens, right? They switch in something weak to you. Now you're playing ABB, so you switch out regardless of what comes in. And it's Venusaur, so we're going to switch into this Shadow Beedrill. They're just farming up because I think they want to save energy while their switch timer's not up. I'm going to throw the X Scissor to kind of let them get out of jail free here, because I kind of want them to switch back out. That's the goal here. And they're just going to tank that Drill Run, and Beedrill once again will take out 2 Pokemon. Showing it's not all this is not all Whiscash's videos, not all Golbat's video. All 3 Pokemon seem very strong in this meta. Yeah, so another really problem Pokemon we have here, Pelipper. I swap right into Beedrill. This is probably not the play. In hindsight, I would definitely swap into Shadow Golbat instead. Even though that's your best answer, just hope that they don't have an answer to that. And they actually make a fantastic catch on X Scissor, which doesn't make any sense to me. But I'll still make it to the Drill Run anyways. And no shields. They farm up a little bit more. Very well played by them. And Whiscash will come in and just get a nice little farm down. The problem is Pelipper is still going to be an issue. Obviously, can't shield here. Going to need a lot to take out this Pelipper. I think I decide to bait first here. Yeah, we're going to go for the bait. Then try and make it to this Blizzard, but obviously this Pelipper outpaces us pretty badly. We're going to tank that Weather Ball, kind of hoping that we live it. We don't. And unfortunately, we're going to lose CMP tie to Pelipper, which is kind of unfortunate. But I thought about undercharging, but really, we're just going to switch out anyways. So, and what I thought would be in the back was a Venusaur, right? Because that's the G-Fisk Pelipper Venusaur line, right? Just in a different order, but unfortunately, we have an Empoleon in the back. Galarian Venusaur, Penguin-shaped Venusaur. Just comes to ruin my day. Otherwise, Shadow Golbat would have actually been able to win that game, I believe. It was the normal line. Now Nidoqueen lead yet again. This Pokemon is getting very popular, and Sableye switch in. This is pretty tough as well. Every Pokemon on this team deals okay with Nidoqueen, so it's not the end of the world if I have to stay in. But the goal here is to tank a foul play on Whiscash and then dip. Just so that you're getting your tanky Pokemon to take some damage. You don't just have to spend a shield on a switch in from Shadow Golbat. So now we switch into Golbat. Their switch timer's still down for a little bit. Unfortunately, I lose CMP to a Sableye with Shadow Golbat. I did not realize that this was IV dependent. A lot of CMP learnings in this video, to be honest. I definitely would not have thrown if that were the case. In comes Registeel. Registeel, it's okay against Shadow Golbat. Flash Cannon obviously hits extremely hard, but it's not enough to quite take out. Unfortunately, because of the residual damage I took from the Shadow Claws, I'm going to be in lock-on down range. Yeah, just spamming that switch button, just trying to get out of this this matchup. But unfortunately, I cannot. Luckily, Whiscash is going to be able to land that Mud Bomb and tank a Flash Cannon. That Shadow Beedrill can try and win the one shield versus Nidoqueen. And this is a bait dependent matchup. Both sides have Shadow Fang, or sorry, Poison Fang. So I shield the Poison Fang, which is bad. So I have to now bait with X-Scissor to win, or just land the Drill Run. So it's another 50-50. I win the 50-50 this time. I'm like, wait, how do they get so much energy? How do they have the Earth Power already? But they're not. Another Poison Fang. Now we throw our Drill Run, take out this Nidoqueen. And we're going to be able to Poison Jab down. Like, look how buffed Poison Jab is. Poison Jabbing down Steel types at the end here. For another positive set. That's 3 positive sets in a row with this team. Honestly, loving the Pokemon on it. We hit rank 12 here on day 2. Is, I don't know, as much as you can ask for, considering you really just rank up whenever you get a win nowadays. Yeah, that's the team. It's a lot of fun, especially at the beginning of the season. Whiscash, I really do think, has some extra play. Shadow Beedrill and Golbat, the buffs have actually made them really viable instead of just Spice Picks. I really do think we're going to be seeing a lot more of them, especially in maybe some of these themed cups and the remix cups as well. With the top 20 Pokemon banned, none of these are banned. That's it. All these 3 of these Pokemon, very accessible. Should be very easy to build. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. I'll leave all of my socials in the description as usual. And as always, thanks for watching.